look at this. Jack Ma is China's richest man. He's worth over $61 billion US. Great entrepreneur, great capitalist, tech and finance and business and cell phones and internet, amazing. And his company called Ant, as in the little bug, was about to have the world's largest initial public offering, IPO. That means he was going to list his private company on the stock exchange and let people buy shares in it. That's important for a lot of reasons, not just for the company to get access to capital, but for the whole industry to have some public disclosure, to learn about Ant, to have some sort of oversight on the company. When you're in a stock exchange, it makes your company have to comply with certain rules. Obviously, there's a lot more corruption in China than in America, but being on a stock market brings some rules and oversight. It's healthy, I think. And I don't think Jack Ma was looking to scam people like so many stock market players in China do. He's a rich man who was building what he thought was his answer to the banking system, his answer to PayPal and Facebook combined, really. And it was set to be the world's largest IPO, as in it would raise more money than any deal in history. Put aside politics, I mean, wouldn't you want to own a slice of the Chinese version of Amazon, Facebook? But let me read this from the Wall Street Journal. Here's the story. I'm going to read for about 2 minutes. China's President Xi Jinping personally scuttled Jack Ma's Ant IPO. Senior government leaders were furious about wealthy entrepreneurs' criticisms of regulators. Rebuke was the culmination of years of tense relations. All right, here's the story. Chinese President Xi Jinping personally made the decision to halt the initial public offering of Ant Group, which would have been the world's biggest, after controlling shareholder Jack Ma infuriated government leaders, according to Chinese officials with knowledge of the matter. The rebuke was the culmination of years of tense relations between China's most celebrated entrepreneur and a government uneasy about his influence in the rapid growth of the digital payments behemoth he controlled. Mr. Xi, for his part, has displayed a diminishing tolerance for big private businesses that have amassed capital and influence and are perceived to have challenged both his rule and the stability created by factions in the country's newly assertive Communist Party. In a speech on October 24th, days before the financial technology giant was set to go public, Mr. Ma cited Mr. Xi's words in what top government officials saw as an effort to burnish his own image and tarnish that of regulators, these people said. At the event in Shanghai, Mr. Ma, the country's richest man, quoted Mr. Xi saying, "Success does not have to come from me," unquote. As a result, the tech executive said he wanted to help solve China's financial problems through innovation. Mr. Ma bluntly criticized the government's increasingly tight financial regulation for holding back technology development, part of a long-running battle between Ant and its overseers. Mr. Xi, who read government reports about the speech, and other senior leaders were furious. According to the officials familiar with the decision-making, Mr. Xi ordered Chinese regulators to investigate and all but shut down Ant's initial public offering, the official said, setting in motion a series of events that led to the deal's suspension on November 3rd. Investors around the world already had committed to paying more than $34 billion for Ant's shares. It isn't clear whether it was Mr. Xi or another government official who first suggested the shutdown. Yeah, I mean, the company would be worth $1/3 billion because that $34 billion or whatever, that was just the value of the sliver that was being sold. So the market cap was $1/3 billion. But if you said something mean about the dictator, or even just something presumptuous, which is what I think was going on here, well, that's what matters. That's all that counts in China. Don't let the dictator lose face. I'll read some more. Xi doesn't care about if you made any of those rich lists or not, said a Chinese official. What he cares about is what you do after you get rich and whether you're aligning your interests with the state's interests, unquote. All right, that was from the Wall Street Journal. Great piece there. Here's how Bloomberg described the same news. Derailing of Jack Ma's Ant IPO shows Xi Jinping's in charge. China's move to abruptly halt the world's biggest stock market debut sends global investors a clear message. Any financial opening will only be done on terms that benefit President Xi Jinping and the Communist Party. Policymakers in Beijing shocked the investment world on Tuesday by suspending an initial public offering by Ant Group Company, a fintech company owned by billionaire Jack Ma, China's second richest man, apparently. The decision came just 2 days before shares were set to trade in a listing that attracted at least, oh my God, 3 trillion orders from individual investors. that can't be in American money. That's probably Hong Kong dollars. The timing of the decision showed once again that for Xi and the party, financial and political stability take precedence over ceding control of the economy, especially to a private company. Yeah, they kneecapped their greatest entrepreneur, their greatest businessman, their startup master, their wealth creator, their Bill Gates plus Mark Zuckerberg plus Jeff Bezos, their top guy. They just threw him off the cliff on the eve of his great achievement. Why? Because they can, and they want you to know it. Imagine being a Western company, a CEO in New York or London or Toronto, and thinking that you can outsmart or outnavigate China, that you've got an inside track. At best, you'll be Danoned or Disneyed, or maybe you'll be stepped on like an ant. You know what? Come to think of it, I heartily recommend that Facebook and Google and YouTube and Twitter and all our banksters put their eggs in the Chinese basket. Go do business with them. Invest it all. Bet it all, you crooks. And may you get the result you so richly deserve. What a shame that shareholders will pay the price, but still. Trouble is, it's not just businesses who are getting skinned alive by Xi Jinping and the commies. It's foolish politicians too.
We're quite proud the Prime Minister has been given a fond nickname in China. He is called Tudou, which I believe means potato, and I can't say the Chinese word, it's Xian Tudou, little potato, because his father, Pierre Elliott Tudou, was senior potato.
Yeah, watch Xi Jinping eat her alive. That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.